if you jump the gun, you will never be able to take a step back. But if you jump the gun slowly, you would at least be able to jump it in a way which is beneficial to you, and the consequence would be great, not a negative one. Like all my batchmates used to ask me, I mean, you don't study and you still score above average marks. I used to listen to all the classes I used to attend, and basis that understanding I had of the topic, I used to go and write down in the exam. HR is, no longer a theoretical subject. It's no longer about recruitment or employee onboarding and end-to-end cycle. HR has become more about data. So how you weave that data into tangible information is where the storytelling comes in. So then I realized that it's too early to settle down in one particular department or team at that start of the career. So hence I thought that I need to diversify my experience in human resources.
Hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Know Your Alumni series. I'm Reena Prabha from Alumni Committee. Today we have Rajat Agrawal from PGP HR batch, who's currently the Chief Manager at TATA AIG HR. Thank you for coming here, sir.
Welcome, Reena. Pleasure being on campus yet again.
It's our pleasure to host you here.
Thank you so much.
So, a lot of students are sometimes not certain about joining a specialization program like PGPM HR. What made you choose this program? Anything you could share to help the students make a better decision?
Right. So, when you're asking me this question, there's a science to it which I had applied when I was, filling out forms and finalizing which specialization I want to go to. So, I used the method of elimination. Since the very beginning, when I started my academic career in engineering, post-engineering, I had come to the conclusion that I do not want to end up in banking sector. So, BFSI was something which was eliminated right away. And then post-engineering, I had joined Amazon and worked in business operations, supply chain operations. So then after working in operations, I realized that operations is also something which I like doing, but I do not want to build a career in. And then after that, there were few domains which were left, which was one of them was predominantly marketing and sales and human resources. So during my time at Amazon, I had come down to post-sales division as well, where lot of work was going on, delivering the services to the clients after the sale has been done. So I realized that sales is also something which is okay and I can do well, but again, do not want to build a long-term career. So through the process of elimination, I came down to HR itself. And then when I was finalizing it and I was trying to convince my parents, because they were against it, they were like, why do you want to go to an HR? HR is something which may not give you the career you want. So I tried to tell them that throughout my education, whatever clubs and committees I was part of, even when I was in undergrad or post my undergrad in the organization, I came to the conclusion that all of those times have prepared me in some or the other way to build a career in HR, because HR gives me the flair of everything. It gives me the chance to do sales and marketing. When you talk about recruitment, when you talk about operations, HR operations is an integral part for any organization. When you talk about decision making, HR these days are enabling business to make critical decisions as well. So this is how I boiled it down to HR itself.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
So, from your journey at TATA AIG, how did your role evolve from learning and development to compensation and benefits and employee branding? Who motivated this?
So, TATA AIG had visited the campus like any other corporate recruiter. They agreed to hire for the HR roles for my batch itself. So I got hired as a senior management trainee over there. So they had given me L&D as one of the portfolios to work on. So I was part of the learning and development team for almost 18 months. And then I sat down one day and I thought where, I want to be at the end of my long career in human resources. Then I realized that it's too early to settle down in one particular department or team at that start of the career. So hence I thought that I need to diversify my experience in human resources. So the next thing which came to my mind was compensation benefits. Employer branding is something which my CHRO entrusted on me. He said you will do a good job of it. Maybe he saw something when I was part of the L&D team. Maybe he saw it when he came on campus to make the hiring. So employer branding is something which was interested on me. So that's how employer branding also got tagged.
Okay. So, as a chief manager at L&D, so how did you ensure alignment between business strategy and learning initiatives for diverse management roles?
Right. So, when you talk about business initiatives and learning strategy, you're trying to ask me how do both of them come together and give a common output. So, all the learning strategies are based on what the business wants. So, let's say they have a team of 400 people who are doing frontline sales, and there's a product which they want those people to sell off. So there would be two kind of trainings which would happen. First is the product based training, where they would learn the ins and out of the products, what can product do, what are the benefits of using that product. Now comes the behavioral part of the training. So some people require some level of behavioral training. As in, when I say behavioral, so some people are good with technical expertise, but at the same time they sometimes want a boost on how to make the conversation happen, how they understand the behavior of the consumer. So these are two aspects of training, which is a domain training and a behavioral training, which comes from the business outcome expected. That is how the strategies are made. You understand the business outcome first, and then you design the program, and then you deliver it, and then you monitor it for the ROI.
Okay. So during your tenure as placement coordinator at IIM Trichy, how did you navigate the responsibilities?
So I mean, navigating the responsibility, I mean, I never looked at it from that lens from day one itself. For me, both things went in tandem. So academics had to be done because you need to graduate at the end of 2 years, because without graduating you will not land a job. And placement, being a part of the placement team, came with certain responsibilities towards the batch itself. A lot of expectations were set from the senior team placement team member as well. You go through a rigorous selection process where a lot of eyes are on you as well. So just have to do justice to both. When so I have, to be honest, like all my batchmates used to ask me, I mean, you don't study and you still score above average marks. So what I used to do as a practice is I used to listen to all the classes I used to attend, and basis that understanding I had of the topic, I used to go and write down in the exam. People used to study for, I mean, dedicatedly. I'm not denying their effort or something. They used to spend a lot of hours studying. I used to study for 4 or 5 hours. I used to go to bed. Even if I have not completed the course, I used to go up, write the exam, and leave the exam hall pretty early once the paper was done. Because there's no point in sitting. I mean, I know what I've done. I know the number of marks I'll score on that. So I think it was not easy, but at the same time, I did not find it challenging.
Okay. What were the biggest challenges you faced in organizing the first ever leadership conclave at IIM Trichy, and how did you overcome that?
So Daksha is something which was not just mine. Daksha is something which was born out of some needs in terms of establishing corporate relations, some thoughts that team had, some thoughts that then chairperson, who is still Professor Abhishek, had. So we collectively decided to host and start the maiden leadership conclave Daksha. The naming itself was a long exercise. A couple of my team members were involved in it very intensely. That is how the name Daksha came up. Then the genesis of this particular conclave was to put IIM Trichy on the map in front of the recruiters, that that placement is not just one way of engaging with the corporate, because the conclave was meant to give exposure to the masses. So in placement, what happens, only a selected number of people go through the filtering process, and then they get a chance to give the interviews, and then either get selected or sit for the next organization which comes along. But Daksha brought at least 20 to 25 corporate leaders in one place where students could indulge them in tea breaks, lunch breaks. There was a meet and greet night which happened in sports complex in the Maiden. So that is how we did. The challenges were gathering the whole team. The operation team had to be created. We reached out to the students to volunteer for that. We reached out to the clubs and committees to make it a huge event, because we were not thinking that it's just a placement office event. We were thinking from the lens that it's an institute event, and working alongside with other clubs and committee will make it a huge success, which it eventually was. There were a lot of leaders which had come. I remember very fondly that finance secretary back then had a good conversation, had a good chance to speak to a couple of companies, leaders of the companies which were from the finance background. So I won't say challenges, avenues for collaboration. That's how I look at it.
Okay. So thank you for sharing with us, and none of our students would know about that experience apart from the placement team.
Yeah.
And in your internship at Ultratech Cement, you worked on benchmarking DI practices.
Correct.
What were some surprising insights you uncovered, and how did you convert them into actionable proposals?
Right. So, see, when we are talking about Ultratech, we also have to understand that what Ultratech is. Ultratech is a manufacturing company, and in manufacturing company, when you talk about DEI, there are a lot of things. There's diversity hiring. There is a question of equity as well, inclusion as well. So these things does not come easily to manufacturing sector. And when I was doing the benchmarking, I realized the diversity ratio of the workforce is very less. Then I went on and understood that it's a general trend. I mean, it's not something which was particular to Ultratech, but to the manufacturing sector itself. And the revelations were that if you look at the top management, even now, there are hardly any female leaders. So it's not by choice, it's just by design. I mean, it's a sector which is not seen as something where female leaders are seen to excel or is a preferred sector to be in. But nonetheless, the corporate trend is changing now. I mean, at the leadership level, female leaders are making an impact. The corporates have taken cognizance of that, and they're trying to, push a lot of female leaders ahead. And when I say diversity, it's not just female diversity. I mean, it's every kind of diversity. People from different walks of life, different genders, different identities which they carry. All of them are being incorporated. But yeah, if I would have to say that is there a room of improvement, I would say yes, there is a lot of room of improvement, because corporates are still struggling to provide that environment, provide that kind of opportunities to them.
Okay. So how do you design learning programs that cater to both Gen Z employees and mid-level managers? Any tools or framework you follow?
So you see, there are no tools or framework which have to be specifically followed to train Gen Z. You just have to understand what is the requirement of Gen Z. Okay, the mode of learning, the mode of delivering the training is same across. I mean, you can use what you're using for Gen Z for a Gen X or Gen Y as well. Okay, we have to identify what intrigues them. So something which they would take a liking to, because capturing the interest of somebody who's getting trained is more important. So if I were to recite any spiritual book while training to Gen Z, it will not work. Vice versa, if I would to recite any quote from a spiritual book to the older generation, they might understand the meaning of that particular quote because they have gone through the experience of life, so they'll be able to relate. So you have to find what is more relatable to the crowd you are training. So that is how I look at it, and that is how I also experienced as my time in L&D at TATA AIG too.
So what role does storytelling play in training, communications, or employee branding, and how do you leverage your writing background in your current roles?
So ठीक है, you've picked it up from I think my
LinkedIn.
hobby in LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So see, storytelling is again an important part of L&D. There's something called as storytelling using data. So these days, what is happening? Companies are pivoting from conventional method of giving mundane PPTs. Now they try to give the presentation, not just try, they give the presentation based and backed by data. So how you weave that data into tangible information is where the storytelling comes in. So so at Tata AIG, we've never done a training program before I took upon that role as on the lines of storytelling using data. So when we did that training, for the middle management, the senior leaders who are just next to the senior leaders itself, and they like the concept. So, so the storytelling I used to do was of a personal nature, things which I have experienced in my life, or things which I write. So similarly, when you are using that particular skill to narrate the data, it's just I know how to storytell. Now what I need to tell the participants is how they can also create a story around that data. I mean, this data came to my desk is not the right way. So I was working on that data and I came across this insight, and this insight is linked to something else, and so on and so forth. You build on that. Okay, so storytelling happens is where you're building from your personal experiencing. In professional setup, you are building on the professional insights you have gathered using the data you have found. So that is how you can connect storytelling to storytelling in training itself. And then you were saying, how do I make use of my writing skills? I think my writing skills have helped me to navigate corporate communications predominantly. I mean, I sometimes write content for the teams. I sometimes wrote content for myself for work related stuff or some social media posts which had to go out. So that is where writing has played a major role. I mean, I did not have to, understand the nuances of how corporate communication work first, because I have been writing for a very long time. Before joining MBA, I was working on content development for various industries. So that is how writing has helped me as well.
You have experience in risk management and fraud detection at Amazon. Have you used those analytical and decision-making skills translated into HR and L&D work?
So what I was doing at Amazon was very different is what I am doing at Tata AIG. So yes, the repeatedness of the work I used to do, which was to analyze the data, has inculcated this habit of looking at the data from a critical lens, trying to understand what role that data is playing. Is there something which we are missing? Because data is a set of individual points which we have captured at different time frames. So now when you put them together, you have to see and understand if they are painting a story. So when I was working in Amazon in risk detection profiles, we used to come up with a story by looking at different data sets. Key, if something has happened at this point of time and the consequence is that, what has happened after that consequence? So it's a connect. That is how you identify the pattern. Is something which I have done at Tata AIG as well. When a lot of data comes in, I just try to understand what that data is trying to tell me, and that is how I analyze it.
So working across functions like operations, risk, training and branding, how do you adapt your problem-solving approach across varied domains?
I think you don't do this subconsciously. I mean, when you're tackling a problem, you do not. I do not sit and try to go back and think I did this in risk mitigation, I did this in L&D, I did this in operation. When you are approaching a problem, when the solution comes to you, it has come to you from the subconscious, which is already trained on all these challenges. So let's say we have this R&R activity which happens at Tata AIG. We have an R&R coming up in the month of July. So we have a core team which is running the show. I am part of the operations team there. So my experience here at IIM Trichy for the maiden Leadership Conclave, whatever things I did, however I did, whatever management we did, that is playing a role in that. I mean, how I managed that. So I do not do it consciously. Once you've experienced it, you start doing it subconsciously, and that shows. And then when you see and realize is when you go back and think, acha, I did this then, this is helping me now. When you're actually doing it, you don't think about it. But when you've done it and then you see the positives, then you realize that some experience which you have gone through in the past is which has helped you to make that future event a success.
All right. So you've used tools like Excel dashboards, SharePoint, and thematic analysis techniques. So can you give me an example where these tools played a pivotal role in shaping an HR strategy and training interventions?
So, see, HR is no longer a theoretical subject. It's no longer about recruitment or employee onboarding and end-to-end cycle. HR has become more about data. So right now, how do you present the data? It's something you have to go with data visualization tools. So the oldest data visualization tool is Excel. We use Power BI, we use Tableau, we use many other things. But if you were to present a data in a diagram format or a graphical format, you can just do it on Excel. So now when you are playing with 5 different data set, you need to make them into a common data set, or you need to at least integrate them. And then when you are looking at the graphical representation of it, all those data are interacting with each other. So let's say if I have to see demographically in IIM Trichy itself, how many people are from one particular state of one particular age with one particular experience in one particular sector. These are 6 different things, or maybe 5. I did not do the count. So now these are mini cohorts within one big cohort, which is what in one particular geography, people of what age and with how many experience of year are coming. What I mentioned before, that's what the mini cohort of those things. So now how do you see it together? You make a dashboard, you put out the filters there, or something we call as slicers. You select the age bracket, you select the region, you select the experience, and if you want to see it in the sector, the graphs will automatically move. Same thing Power BI does it. Power BI does it better, so does Tableau. And when you do these kind of data representation, it helps you to make decision faster. It helps you in the presentation as well, because they want to look at some concrete insights, not some vague that approximately this, approximately that. That is not appreciated anymore because the expectations have changed.
Right. So you mentioned a strong interest in reading, writing, and languages. So has this hobby influenced any professional initiatives, perhaps a training module or internal comms campaign?
See, again, these interests enables you to keep on reading which is happening around you. Okay, reading, writing, listening enables you to. So let's say you mentioned that I like to read. So when I say reading, it's mostly about fictional, non-fictional books. But even when I'm not doing anything, if I'm commuting to office, the reading habit comes in the information I want, which is, I mean, nobody reads newspaper anymore. You use app. I have in shorts. I just keep on scrolling, gathering information, reading it patiently. Where people just see the headline, I read the entire article. It's just 5 lines of article, and then you can move ahead. So I relate my hobbies of reading, writing, and listening to those things. I mean, like I said, you don't think about something you've done in the past, something you like to do. You just do it, and then you realize I am doing this because I have this habit. I have done that thing in the past. That's how I look at things.
What's your most cherished memory from your time at IIM Trichy?
So my most cherished memory at IIM Trichy is so there's this friend of mine, Kushal. So his birthday falls on 5th February. Mine falls on 8th of February. So we were doing this collective birthday. I mean, he and I was trying to celebrate the birthday together. That was in our first year. So it was a huge gathering. I don't know what he did. I do not know what my other friends did. But there were a lot of people. They were all happy faces around. So I've never seen that kind of vibe on IIM Trichy. Friends who were acquaintances, friends who were great friends, all of them came together. It seemed like a fraternity house when I woke up the next day. I mean, I will not give you the inside story of it because it's horribly good, but the public should not know about it. But people who do know about it, they never stop laughing whenever we talk about it.
I'm sure your fellow batchmate will have a great time.
They do. Even my senior does.
Was there a faculty, peer, or class project that left a lasting impact on you?
At IIM Trichy, I've been significantly motivated, moved by one professor, particularly Professor Abhishek Tutawar. He is somebody I've always gone to whenever I have faced the challenge. He's somebody uh, who I want to keep going back to. I am still connected with him. Having said that, there are a couple of other more professors which I have a liking to. Professor Smita, Professor Sajit. They are somebody I think are also flag bearer as faculty of the programs itself. They're one of the few peoples on campuses who you can go to with any kind of problem, and they would be able to give you a solution you are not expecting.
Okay. So, did any of your batchmates inspire you in unexpected ways?
So, this is a difficult question, but I'll tell you. So, there was this guy, Vihari, in my team. Okay, so when he had joined the team, he had joined the team with for different reason, which was not the obvious one, which we are infamous about. And then when I saw him, when I saw how he works, how his mind works, he was thinking 5 steps ahead, things which were not asked of him. He used to even prepare for those things, and not seen brilliant mind as his in my 2 years. And I think I was just amazed by the sheer brilliance. And he was very modest about it. I mean, as if he's done nothing. He'll always be prepared, he'll always be there to help you, and you can always go to him for any academically related problem. I'm saying academically because I've interacted with him on those fronts, and he would have an answer, and an easy one. So I am eternally moved, inspired by him. I wish I could have been that great academically, but yeah, that's the truth about it.
I'm sure you'll be glad that you mentioned his name when you share this video with him. So, what's the one experience at IIM Trichy campus that you think every student must go through or not miss out?
So one experience every IIM Trichy student should go through. I mean, there are many, but I think when Sangram happens, the entire institute comes together, and then just all of us collectively busy, trying to beat the other campuses, or we're trying to boo down the campus who's working against us with our fellow campuses. So I remember in 2022, when Sangram happened, my entire batch has gone out. I couldn't go because I was going through an injury.
Okay.
But then I was looking at their faces, the videos which were coming in WhatsApp. They were something to look at. I mean, I was telling them what to say from here in my bed. Say this line, do not leave them. So I think that is one thing which every IIM Trichy student should go through. The entire institute comes together like one big family, and they leave no stone unturned to make sure that the other institute does not, have one over us.
I hope you do know that we came second last time.
I did.
Yeah.
I keep following our pages diligently. I keep seeing, and I like what is happening to the institute at the moment as well.
Okay, so if you had to nominate one of your fellow batchmates for the series, who would it be and why?
Again, it's a tricky question and difficult one. I mean, there's just not one name I would like to nominate. There's a whole, I think, list of it. But I would like to nominate my seniors as well. There's somebody called as Antara Raba. There's somebody called as Arpan Goyal. There's somebody called as Sakshi Juneja, Mohit Varshane. These are my seniors. I mean, these are fabulous guys. When you talk about my batch, I would like to take Anvesha's name, Anvesha Pal, Aman Bafna, Kushal Khurana, Riya Martha Beni, and couple of more guys from PGPM. Those, I mean, they've done such tremendous things their time on IIM Trichy that taking just one name is not right. I mean, I know that you've asked me one, but I'll not be able to give you one name. I mean, it's just not right.
The list tells me how good experience that you had with your fellow batchmates.
I didn't get the last question.
I mean, the list tells me that how good you had a experience.
I mean, it was just a collective effort. I mean, 2 years at IIM Trichy was something which I will always cherish. given me a lot to, take ahead. And I've learned a lot of things. I've gone through a lot of challenges. So that is why I say, the list is still incomplete. There are a lot of names which I have not said or taken. So it's about the impact all of them have made, whether it's good, whether it's neutral, whether it's not great. They've all given me something to, move forward to, learn something and make it better.
So, during your corporate journey, you must have had wonderful mentors. Any valuable advice you have received which helped you a lot?
So when you talk about mentors, the advice they told me was to, see and understand what is happening around you. If you jump the gun, you will never be able to take a step back. But if you jump the gun slowly, you would at least be able to jump it in a way which is beneficial to you, and the consequence would be great, not a negative one. So that's the advice I got, that just see what is happening around you and then act or react accordingly.
Okay, sir. So we have come to the end of this session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights and taking your time off your busy schedule here. And a special thanks to Media Relations Committee for providing support in recording the session. Thank you so much. And this is Alumni Committee signing off, and we wish to watch you in and see you in yet another episode of Know Your Alumni series.
Thank you so much, Tina. My pleasure being on campus. It was wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you, sir. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. Thank you so much.